Operation Antonine was the investigation into the murder of Jacob Abraham, who was just 15 years of age when he was killed on the 7th of December 2017. It's a really difficult and complex investigation, very tragic obviously because of the circumstances and the age of Jacob, but made equally tragic and equally challenging because of the ages of those 5 boys who were involved in his murder. So what I was really struck with during the course of this investigation is the level of support that we've had from the local community. Not only people around Hurst Drive who came out on the 7th to help and provide assistance and care and treatment to Jacob after the attack, but also witnesses that came forward, came to court and gave evidence on behalf of the prosecution, provided us with CCTV, provided us with evidence in order to strengthen our case. So I was very struck when the jury came back with their verdicts and watching those 5 young men at the back of the court and the emotional effect that a guilty verdict had on each one of those. And I was really saddened by the loss of life of Jacob Abraham, a young man who could have gone on to do all sorts of things with his life but had his whole life ahead of him. But also saddened at the loss of life of those 5 young men in the back of the court, the sadness that they felt, the realisation of what they had done, the impact that their crime had had not only on them personally but also their families, many of whom have been sat in court, and just the devastation that one act has left on the local community, on Jacob Abraham's family, but on the family and lives of those 5 young men. It was a real sad and sobering event to hear those guilty verdicts come back.
One of our objectives here is to reduce the incidence of knife crime and reduce the amount of people that carry knives on our streets. And how are we going to do that? Well, very interestingly, following the death of Jacob last year, we did see a big drop-off in the amount of street robberies that were recorded, and I can't account for it. What I can say is that maybe it was a reality check to the children who do carry knives to encourage them not to seek confrontation with each other because it was very highly publicised and such a tragic incident. So one of the things we've tried to change in the last 6 to 12 months is how we better work with our partners, our immediate partners who share intelligence. So we do a lot of work now with Enfield. They have their own gangs unit there and hold a whole range of intelligence upon individuals that may cause us threat or may actually be at risk themselves. We know that part of the culture of people who carry knives is to squirrel knives in locations where they're easily accessible should they need them. So we now do a lot of knife sweeps of areas. We'll take police officers and PCSOs, both from Broxbourne and Cross-Border and Enfield, and we will do searches of areas of estates where we think the risk is highest, and we will try and recover the knives off the streets. So our youth intervention project is key in partnership working. So we're engaging with a number of schools across the borough. We're intelligence and information sharing with them. And the idea is that when we identify those kids most at risk, that we can target a support worker in to work with the schools, to work with families, parents and other partners, and to give them the best chance not to get dragged into gang and knife crime. Let me tell you, every day I review every crime that happens in Broxbourne, and I review every stop and search that happens in Broxbourne, and I still see Stanley knives and kitchen knives being taken from children as young as 14 and 15 years old. It's not every day, but it means it's still out there. What was my advice to you? Don't do it. You're not in control. You may think you're in control of your own destiny, but all you need is a little bit of confrontation, the consideration of pulling the knife, to someone to think that you may be carrying a knife, and suddenly a knife will be pulled against you. And I've seen too many officers have to come back from visiting scenes of stabbings, and in Jacob's case, the loss of life of a young child, and that is really impactful upon those officers. It is impactful upon our community. It's massively impactful upon your family. There are 6, as I speak, 6 families focusing on a court hearing due to Jacob's death, and that those people shouldn't be in that position, and all because someone chose to carry a knife on that day. So my message to you is, don't carry a knife. Don't court problems that are out of your control. It is not a safe environment to do it. Please don't carry a knife on our streets.